I pounded my fist against the window of Kari's SUV, desperation clawing at my throat. Move your truck. My dad is dying. Each word was a strained cry, raw with urgency, but she just sat there, arms crossed, sunglasses shielding her indifference. Behind her, the ambulance's red and blue lights flickered like frantic stars against the tall oak trees. The sirens wailed, but they meant nothing if they couldn't get through. My heart raced as I spotted the paramedics perched at the bottom of the hill, hands waving, unable to proceed. Not now, not when every second mattered. Are you really going to sit there? I shouted, my voice cracking. He needs help. Kari's rolled down her window, her expression smug as if she were enjoying the show. You know the HOA rules. No unauthorized vehicles pass this point without written approval. My fists clenched. The only thing standing between my dad and survival was her arrogant adherence to ridiculous paperwork. I toned, searching for the nearest tool, then sprinted back to the barn. Dad's old bolt cutters hung there, a symbol of rebellion against the insipid bureaucracy that stifled our lives. I ran back up the path, my heart pounding loudly enough to drown out the sirens. Adrenaline surged through my veins as I confronted Kari's again, the cutters glinting menacingly in my hands. Get out of the way, or I'll cut that chain right now. She blinked at me, momentarily taken aback. You wouldn't dare. Oh, I would. I shot back, teeth gritted. With one quick motion, I lunged forward and snipped the chain holding her SUV in place. The sound echoed like a gunshot, sharp and freeing. I kicked aside the post, blocking the way, and hollered for the ambulance. Go! There's space now. The paramedics sprang into action, racing up the path. Kari's recovered, shock shifting to rage. You'll pay for this, she screamed, but I didn't care anymore. I turned and sprinted toward the barn, my heart in sync with the pounding hooves of the urgency in my chest. Inside, chaos reigned as the medics worked over my dad, who lay pale and gasping, wires snaking from every direction. What happened? One of them barked. Heart attack. I choked, barely able to watch. I stepped back, letting them work, but all I could think about was Kari's and her twisted sense of power. Did anyone call the police? One EMT asked. Call them now, I said, my voice shaking. She blocked the ambulance. Kari's. She called the HOA on us, too. This isn't over. As they stabilized my dad, I felt the fury boiling inside me. This wasn't just about my dad. It was about every neighbor Kari's had bullied. Moments later, the sirens faded into the distance, taking my heart with them. I followed the ambulance all the way to the hospital, a knot of anxiety clenching tight in my gut. What if it was too late? What if I never got the chance to tell him how much I loved him? But then, in the sterile waiting room, a nurse emerged and said the words I desperately wanted to hear. He's stable, but you need to prepare yourself. Prepare myself. I echoed, overwhelmed. He survived, didn't he? For now, she said gently, and I nodded, my heart heavy with uncertainty. But even there, amid terror and waiting, I knew one thing. This wasn't over. Kari's had crossed a line, and I wouldn't let her win. The fight for my dad's life was just the beginning of the battle for Pine Hill Ranch. Determination surged through me. I would rally the neighbors, gather evidence, and make sure no one would ever have to face her cruelty alone again. The war against Kari's was on. Prepare myself. I echoed, the words chilling my veins as the nurse stepped back, her expression unreadable. My heart raced, each beat a reminder of the fragility of life. What do you mean? For now? Before she could respond, the hospital doors swung open, the sound slicing through the air like a knife. I toned, seeing Kari striding through with an air of authority, her heels clicking ominously against the polished floor. You? What are you doing here? I spat, fury igniting as she approached. You think this is all a joke? Calm down, darling, she said, her voice smooth and taunting. I'm here to assist with the situation. After all, we wouldn't want any accident occurring on the premises, would we? The bitterness in her words rolled over me like a thick fog. I took a step forward, ready to confront her, but the nurse intervened, shaking her head. This area is restricted. You need to leave. No, let her stay, I said firmly, my eyes narrowing as I faced Kari's. This is all your fault. You almost killed my dad." She smiled, a sinister glint in her eye. "Oh, did I? I just followed the rules. Besides, it's not personal. It's just good governance." "Good governance!" I exclaimed, incredulous. "You would rather follow some ridiculous guidelines than help a dying man." "I followed the rules. All I did was enforce them." Her calm demeanor made my blood boil. "You have to play by the rules, or this will only happen again and again." Just then, a doctor emerged, his expression serious. "Your family? We need to discuss his condition." Kari's leaned closer to me, whispering before the doctor could speak. "Let's see how this plays out. If he doesn't make it, your ranch might be mine after all." My stomach dropped at the thought, but I steeled myself. "You won't win, Kari's." The doctor cleared his throat, casting a wary glance between us. "Your father is stable for now, but we need him to respond to treatment. It may take time." Breathless, I nodded, but Kari's smug smile didn't leave her face. "Time? That's a luxury you might not have, you know." Suddenly, the lights flickered, and a loud crash echoed from somewhere deep inside the hospital. My heart raced as I turned to Kari's. "What was that? Are we safe?" She feigned innocence, but there was a spark of excitement in her eyes. "Who knows? Maybe a fire alarm? Or something more dramatic." The doctor looked concerned, stepping away from us. "Stay here. I need to check on that." "Wait." But before I could follow, Kari's grasped my arm, her grip like iron. "Listen, we have to stick together. You might need an ally, especially if things get messy." "Messy? You're the cause of all this." I shoved her hand away, turning back toward the entrance, but she whispered urgently, "What if someone is coming for your dad? You need to think fast." My breath caught in my throat as adrenaline surged through me. The uncertainty of what lay ahead, coupled with Kari's twisted motives, made the tension palpable. I glanced back towards the darkened hallway as shadows shifted just out of view. Before I could react, another voice rang out, a man, deep and commanding. "Where's the emergency exit?" I turned, spotting a figure in a paramedic's uniform, sweat glistening on his forehead, panic etched into his features. "They are trying to break in. We've got to evacuate." Kari's exchanged a glance with me, her facade cracking. "We're not safe here." "No kidding." I shouted, my heart pounding harder. "What do we do?" "Stay close to me," she said quickly, though I felt no trust in her words. "I know these places. We can find a way out." With urgency mounting, I pulled away from her, the instinct to protect my dad overriding everything. "No, I'm going to find him." As I started to dash toward the ICU, Kari's grabbed my wrist again. "You'll get caught. We have to think strategically. They are counting on confusion to spread fear." "Fear?" I hissed. "I don't fear you or anyone else." With determination fueling me, I broke free of her grasp just as a first wave of chaos erupted in the halls behind us. A loud crash echoed again, more insistent this time, and I sprinted down the corridor, heart racing, convinced nothing could stop me now. But as I reached the ICU doors, they swung open, revealing the doctor and my dad, pale but awake, desperately trying to rise. "Get down!" I yelled at him just as the lights went out entirely. Fear gripped me. I could feel the shadows closing in, and all I could think was that I didn't know who to trust. As darkness enveloped us, I realized I was about to face not just a threat outside, but the turmoil brewing within these walls, and Kari's would stop at nothing to seize a victory. The question hovered in the charged air: who would survive the storm? "Get down!" I shouted just as the lights flickered, and then plunged us into darkness. I threw myself toward Dad, my heart pounding like a war drum. The chaotic sounds of shouts, footsteps, and clattering echoed around us, growing closer. "Stay with me. I'll get you out of here," I urged, panic edging into my voice. But Dad's eyes were clouded, confusion mixing with pain. The scent of antiseptic filled the room, but all I could smell was fear. "Number 3, he gasped, glancing at the door. "They are coming for 3. Before I could respond, a loud crash reverberated through the corridor, followed by a shout, "Secure the exits! They can't escape!" Who's out there?" I shouted into the void, but no answer came, only more chaos that made my skin prickle with dread. A chilling realization clawed at my gut. This wasn't just about my dad anymore. This was an attack. "I have to get you to safety," I said urgently, gripping his hand. With all my strength, I helped him sit up against the headboard. "Can you move?" "Why, yes, I think so," he stammered, but his face was pale, the shadows around us deepening. Kari's appeared from the darkness, her silhouette sharp against the muted hospital lights. "You can't just rush into this. We need to figure out a plan." "Your plan is what got us here." I shot back, heart racing. "Why are you still here?" Suddenly, footsteps echoed in the hall. I turned to see a group of figures in black, their helmets shiny like predatory eyes. My heart froze. Some were carrying flashlights, cutting through the dark like knives. "It's too late," one of them growled, voice low and menacing. "We have orders to retrieve him." "Retrieve who?" I shouted, stepping in front of my dad. "You're not taking him anywhere." "Stand down," the leader barked, raising a gloved hand. He wore a mask that obscured everything but his eyes, which glinted like a cat's. "This doesn't concern you." Kari's glided forward, an unexpected ally in the chaos. "You can't just breach a hospital. There are laws." "This isn't about laws," the leader snapped. "We have a mission. His life, your life, it's all just collateral in this." I felt a surge of adrenaline, a primal urge to protect. "You're not taking my dad. I swear." Kari stepped back, eyes wide as a masked figure lifted a radio. I met his gaze, steady in my breath as dread and resolve warred within me. "His heart condition is a liability." The leader spoke into the device. "We can finish this." My body tensed, and I caught Dad's gaze. "There's got to be a way out. We've got to move, now." "Follow me," Kari's whispered urgently, her earlier bravado replaced with something else. Fear? Guilt? I saw a flicker of vulnerability in her eyes. "If we go through the service corridors, we can get around them." "Service corridors," I repeated, uncertainty gnawing at me. "And trust you? Are you insane?" Then the leader's voice cut through the tension, snapping me back. "Fine. You have 5 seconds to decide." I was on the edge of panic, but something in Kari's intense gaze made me reconsider. "Let's do it," I whispered to Dad. "We have nothing to lose." "Okay," he managed, struggling to stand. Kari's beckoned us to follow her to the back of the room, pushing aside a curtain. "Hurry." We squeezed through the space that led to the cramped, dimly lit hallway. My heart raced as we ran, the echo of footsteps fading behind us. "What happens when they catch us?" I gasped, panic creeping in. Kari's glance over her shoulder, her expression tense and determined. "We won't let them catch us. They need him, but we'll outsmart them." The corridor twisted like a maze, and with each turn, I felt the oppressive weight of our situation settle heavily on my chest. "Where are we going?" "Down to the basement," she answered, urgency in her voice. "There's an old exit there. If we can reach it, we might have a chance." As we ran, I felt the cool concrete under my hands, dim lights flickering overhead. But then we turned a corner, and there was another unexpected figure ahead, one of the black-clad intruders, the mask hiding all but his menacing glare. "Stop right there," he shouted, springing forward. With no time for hesitation, I shoved Dad behind me. "Go!" I yelled to Kari's, adrenaline surging. She moved, darting toward the intruder, surprising him. The two collided. I felt like I was watching a scene unfold in slow motion. Dad stumbled to the side as I lunged for the intruder, my fists balled in a primal rage. "Get away from him!" I roared, but the figure pushed me back effortlessly. Kari's was grappling with a man, and I could see the struggle in her eyes, a resolve fighting against fear. "Run!" she yelled to me again. "Get him out of here!" In a haze, I grabbed Dad's arm, pulling him sideways. "This way," I urged, dragging him toward the dim light at the end of the hall. But as we turned the corner, a loud explosion rocked the building, the force throwing us off our feet. The sound was deafening, and suddenly, the air rushed out of my lungs, dust and debris filled the hall as the lights flickered again, and in that moment of chaos, the walls closing, shadows swallowing us whole. "Keep moving!" I yelled to Dad, dragging him as far as I could. But as my heart raced, dread washed over me. The chase wasn't just for survival. It was turning into a battle for everything we held dear. And as I glanced back to see Kari still tangled in the fight, I realized I had to make a choice. Keep pushing forward for our escape or turn back into the storm, risking everything to save us both. The explosion rattled my bones as I fought to regain my footing, shoving Dad behind me as dust and debris filled the air. We stumbled through the chaos, eyes stinging and hearts racing, the only thing guiding us a dim light at the end of the hall. "Keep moving!" I shouted, tugging him forward, but I couldn't shake the gnawing guilt as I glanced back. Kari's was still grappling with that intruder, a fierce struggle silhouetted against the shifting shadows. "Go! I'll handle this," she called, her voice strained but unwavering. "No!" I yelled, the frantic urge to help her conflicting with the need to protect Dad. "We can't leave you." "Just go!" she screamed again, and at that moment, her desperation pierced through to me. I had to trust her. We turned away, sacrificing our last tether to hope. The narrow hallway beckoned with urgency, plotting our escape through a haze of desperation. With each hurried step, I could hear the clash of struggle behind us, a chaotic symphony of survival. "Where do we go now?" Dad's voice broke through my panic, deep and raspy. I could feel his energy waning. "There should be a service door down here," I panted, urgency propelling us forward. But as we reached the end of the corridor, dread surged through me like ice water, stopping me in my tracks. The door loomed ahead, but it was locked, the heavy metal sealed tight against our desperate pleas. Damn it! I kicked it as hard as I could, the noise echoing back in mockery. "We need to get out of here. Is there another way?" Dad pressed, his eyes losing the spark. "Please, don't give up on me." Just then, footsteps thundered behind us, closer and closer. My heart raced as I frantically scanned the small alleyway. There's got to be something, anything. A flicker of hope sparked as I noticed a maintenance ladder bolted to the wall, partially concealed by the wreckage. "That!" I pointed, scrambling toward it and grasping the rungs, hoping it would lead to our salvation. "It's too high. I can't climb," Dad panted, panic bubbling in his voice. "I'll lift you. Just trust me." I glanced back toward the advancing figures, their shadows stretching ominously, closing in. "Now!" I urged, gripping Dad's waist as I hoisted him up. "You have to hold on tight." Through strained grunts and desperate movements, I pushed him upward, the sound of footsteps drawing increasingly nearer. He nearly slipped, but grasped the first rung with a trembling hand, eyes wide with fear. "Go!" I shouted, as I urged him higher, heart pounding in sync with the urgency of our escape. "You can do this." He made it to the top, struggling to pull himself up. I clambered after him, clenching the ladder tightly, but just as I was about to reach the final rungs, a crash echoed behind me, a noise that sent icy dread racing through my veins. I turned to see the leader of the black-clad figures standing at the end of the corridor, a sinister smile creeping across his face. "Nowhere to run, sweetheart." I felt my grip falter. "You won't get to him," I growled, but even I could hear the tremor in my voice. "I already have," he taunted, stepping forward. "You're just delaying the inevitable." "That's what you think." With a sudden burst of adrenaline, I turned, scrambling to the top of the ladder, bracing myself as I felt it sway under me. "Look out!" Dad yelled, just as a heavy hand swung out, clawing for my ankle. I kicked back, catching the intruder square on the chest. The force threw him back, giving me just a moment I needed. "Go!" I shouted, clearing the hatch to climb into the unknown. I didn't wait for Dad's response. I just leaped through the opening, hit the ground hard, and immediately rolled to the side. The world outside felt surreal, a stark contrast to the chaos we had just fled. With a racing pulse, I looked up to see Dad tumbling through, landing beside me, breathing heavily. Before we could catch our breath, The door we had just exited slammed open, the dark figure appearing in the aperture, silhouetted against the flickering lights from behind. "This isn't over," he bellowed, the rage bursting from him like a storm. Instinctively, I pulled Dad behind me, trembling but unwilling to show fear. "What do you want?" I shouted back. "I want what's mine," he raged, stepping forward, fists clenched. "And no one is stopping me." But before he could reach us, a piercing siren shattered the tension, drawing both our gazes. Police cars swarmed the parking lot, lights flashing, and chaos erupted as officers flooded the scene, weapons raised. "Freeze!" An officer shouted, gun trained on the masked figure. Wide-eyed, I turned back to see the man's face contort in fury. In a blinding flash, he sprinted back into the hospital, desperately searching for an escape. I felt a shudder of relief, but it quickly turned to dread. What had we just unleashed? As the officers descended upon the building, I pulled Dad close, taking quick glimpses of the chaos unfurling behind us. "Is it really over?" he breathed, hope flickering in his voice. But I couldn't answer, because deep inside, I felt it. Something dark and insidious still lurked, the air around us thick with the promise of danger. Then a commotion erupted from the hospital, and my heart sank as I recognized Kari's voice among the chaos. It was filled with resolve, but there was something more, an urgency that threatened to unravel everything. "Get back! We can't let him out." The words hit me like a brick. My stomach twisted as the remnants of dread returned, washing over me again. "We have to help her," I shouted, turning back towards the hospital. "Have you lost your mind?" Dad yelled, grasping my arm. "We have to get to safety." But I shook my head, adrenaline fueling me. "No. If it's still in there, it's not over. Not yet." As I sprinted back toward the entrance, I felt a unity of fear and bravery surge inside me. Some battles could not be won by running. And as I plunged into the building, the shadows enveloping me again, I realized that my greatest challenge was right ahead, and it would not reveal itself until the last moment. I would either walk away from this unscathed, or I would learn that the fight for my family was only beginning. A final confrontation loomed, leaving me with a chilling certainty. The darkness was coming, and it craved more than just a light. "Stay safe. Kari's," I whispered into the darkness, the uncertainty wrapping around me tighter than ever before. Because this was a fight to the finish, and every second counted. Who would survive, I could no longer tell. But one thing was certain. I would not let the darkness win without a fight.